It started with a dream. Now it's a movement.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. The good, the bad, and the ugly of the food delivery industry in South Africa, as well as business in a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you my friend, business partner, and our National Head of Field Marketing in Diginu, Marius Adams. But before I introduce him to you, welcome to Lapaside. Marius, over to you.
Thank you, Jesse. On my side, I also want to introduce Jesse, but before I do that, you see our nice fire. You're going to see a few pieces of wood on that fire, and we've got a rib in there. Tonight we're going to braai. So this is Jesse Bester. He's the CEO and founder of Diginu. We're going to talk a bit later about the name Diginu, where it started. But yeah, Jesse, Diginu. Why Diginu? Where did it start? And I know that this is your brainchild, but how did it start?
It actually started with a personal story. So I grew up in Jeffreys Bay, and when I was in school in 2007, my dad had the opportunity to buy a restaurant in the local mall that was about to open. And he had this opportunity from one of his friends to start a partnership of sorts. And I was really excited because I'm going to be the cool kid in class. I mean, we own this particular massive restaurant. And my dad had a challenge with it, and he said that so the challenge you have with Jeffreys Bay is during the week, there's a lot of, during the year, there's a lot of people that visit here and there, but it's not constant, a lot of feet.
It's a holiday destination.
It's a holiday destination, yeah. Absolutely. So over December, you've got 2 weeks. That's peak season, and then you've got smaller bits and pieces throughout the year with the Billabong Pro Challenge. I think they call it something different now. And then you also have Easter weekend and stuff like that, but that's not really something measurable. So my dad said, okay, he's willing to look at it, and then he looked at it and he said, no, he's not going to do it because during the year you've got so many people that is locals, but they don't necessarily dine out, and you need those holiday goers to actually come and sit down and order, and you make your money from that. And he said, so now on the flip side again, during December season, you've got this massive influx of people coming to Jeffreys Bay, and now they're sitting in Jeffreys Bay, going to restaurants, and the challenge you have then is they are in holiday mode. So they don't want to necessarily go and in and out, in and out, in and out. And that's where the business owner or the restaurateur loses money. So as a result, he said the challenge is the people are sitting for too long. So I thought to myself, you know what, let's see if we can save, because remember, I wanted to be the cool kid in class. I wanted to be, my dad owns this restaurant. So, I mean, as any teenager, you are very conscious of your popularity level. And I thought to myself, let me see if I can go and figure something out. Now I asked my dad, listen Dad, if I can find us some form of a workaround around this, will you look at it? He said, yes, I'll look at it. I said, okay, cool.
Dad.
Yeah, but my plan didn't work, and here's why. So I came up with this idea. You know when you go into a restaurant, Marius, and you go and order food, and they bring you the food, and then the waiter leaves, and you realize, oh, my fork is dirty, or I don't have Tabasco, or salt or something like that.
Been there.
Yeah, and now the waiter is just missing. They went into some form of a witness protection program.
And the time that they come back is that the time that you have food in your mouth.
Yes. Yeah. I was going, no, good. Okay, so the challenge we had was I wanted to focus on that period of, so that was number one, a personal frustration for me. And I thought, you know what, maybe I can clarify or solve this challenge at the same time of solving my dad's challenge of having a bigger churn throughout the restaurant. So I came up with this idea, all-in-one computer screen. So exactly like this table, it's got that little hole in. I thought, you know what, let's have this designed, an all-in-one computer screen where you order directly to the kitchen. And you don't have to wait for the waiter. It saves a lot of time, because I also waited and I realized how you can screw up a order and you forget to go and place the order, and the customers are busy waiting, and you tell them the kitchen is almost finished. Meantime, you forgot about the order. So I started negotiating with a company in China. I was in grade 10 at the time, and I was just negotiating back and forth on price. And my dad said he's willing to loan me $1,000. to design the first computer screen. So back then, I think it was about 1,200 rand that they can design this. It's very, very simple, elementary thing with I even had the swivel design. Can't go further than 360 degrees. So it can turn to one side once, and then you have to turn the other way. Otherwise, the cables will break. And it was lifting of tiles to place all the cables. Because, by the way, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth was not a proper thing.
That was
2007.
2007, yeah.
Also,
Bluetooth.
the Wi-Fi router, believe it or not, was 1.2 meters long with 12 antennas. And that thing, that was my workaround to get it cheaper. And it still didn't work. Now, here's the challenge. That thing cost 80,000 rand, a restaurant. So I present this to my dad. My dad's like, okay, this is all cool and well. Where's your profit? I was like, oh yeah, that little small thing, forgot about that. So as a result, I filed that idea down in the drawer, the proverbial desk drawer. And in 2014, I saw this video on YouTube when I was a student at Stellenbosch. I saw this video on YouTube where this company, I think they were in Sweden or something, and they were busy talking about this company that designed this app that revolutionized a specific industry. I thought to myself, you know what? That thing that I've always wanted to build, by the way, it didn't have a name back then. It was like the company. Almost like these CIA movies. And I thought to myself, I can use that, build an app for it, and then it solves the challenge of all that infrastructure. The scaling is much easier. The hassles of adding more restaurants is much easier, and the capital outlay is now much less. So I went to a company that develops apps. They quoted me 1.2 million. I was a student. I couldn't even count to 1.2 million. So now I have to get 1.2 million for this thing. And I didn't have a business model. That was the challenge. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let me start working on this. And I called it the Diginu Blueprint. Oh, sorry, the company blueprint. It didn't have a name back then. So the company blueprint. I still have that document actually up until today.
I would love to see it.
I'll share it with you.
I can remember, sorry to interrupt you, those years when I first heard of an app, I thought it was a stomach exercise or stomach muscles. Apps. Then I hear, listen, there's apps now out there on your phone.
Yeah. And as technology evolved, so did my business plan. Now here's where the kicker comes in. The app that I wanted to develop, I started just writing down names. And I started watching movies like the movie about Steve Jobs called Jobs. Started watching that over and over and over because I was so inspired by it. And at one point I realized, okay, now I can figure this thing out. I can get someone to, invest. But people didn't want to invest in it because it was too risky. I mean, what does this likely know about business? So what did I do? I studied law at Stellenbosch University. I didn't finish. I stopped my studies. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go work on yachts. So I flew to Antibes in the south of France and I started working on yachts.
Interesting.
I wanted to build up capital because, no one believed in me. I was like, you know what? If you're not going to believe in me, I'll believe in myself. So I flew to Antibes and I made money in euros, and which helped a lot. So that conversion helped a lot. So I built up capital there. And then at night I would lay in my cabin. I would be busy working on my plans. Not every night though, but a lot of nights. I'd be working on my plans. And I'd have my laptop out, I'd lay in my bed, and I would just be typing away. And any ideas that I had, it was like a brain dump. I just dumped all of my ideas into this, I think it's a 67-page document, if I remember correctly. It evolved into a 67-page document. And from names to logos to anything and everything in between. And then in 2019, do you remember when you and I met each other in Amsterdam? It was 2019. Yeah, it was 2019.
2019 September.
Yeah, September. Because the 5th of September, I resigned. I was in Barcelona in Spain. And I just decided I was on this most immaculate yacht. I was a dive master there. So I was specialized crew. And I decided, you know what, I'm done. I want to build. I want to innovate. I want to create. I want to make the world a better place and not wipe stainless steel every single day. And every odd day I can go and dive and then I'm happy again. But nonetheless, I decided I'm resigning that afternoon at just past 1. I was on my way to the airport and I decided to fly to Amsterdam because I heard about this event going on. That's where you and I actually met.
That's right.
And then I flew to Amsterdam I don't know why I wanted to go to Amsterdam. I thought, you know what, just do it. I'm really, really happy I did, by the way, because that's where I met Marius. And so, as a result, what was you don't recall what was that restaurant's name?
I'm going to Google it later tonight, but I can remember it was a specific restaurant where the waiters and the waitresses, they were opera singers.
Yes, opera singers. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were singing, and I can remember that evening. I still have the video where they sang Piano Man.
Yes.
My favorite song.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It almost felt like what's that movie? Almost like something like The Sound of Music or High School Musical or one of those things where they're literally walking in between us, and that was absolutely beautiful.
We're definitely going to go back there.
Oof, yeah, we must do a trip down memory lane. So nonetheless, I met Marius there, and so I had this idea in my mind, and I remember I still didn't tell you about my idea back then, and I told you, I think it was the end of 2020. I told you about it. So I came back to South Africa, started the company, started coding and everything. And 2020, I told you about it, and you were like, okay, cool, I'll invest. So you invested back then. And then, what was it about? Yeah, it was January 2022. I flew to one of my friends' because, okay, by the way, backstory quickly. I had a big challenge. I was living in Plattekloof at the time in Cape Town, and I had 3 marketers that I appointed to get us restaurants and grocery stores and liquor stores on board. And the challenge we had with that is, I sat with him one Sunday evening, and the one guy's name is Divan. And I asked him, guys, why are we not growing? We are growing, but we're not growing very fast. Get more marketers in. And Divan told me, okay, just take it away from this bag. And then Divan told me, some special effect, free of charge.
Smoke.
Yeah. So Divan told me that, maybe we must just move that one. No, thanks. So I asked them, guys, why are we not moving fast enough? And so we started chatting, and then they didn't know, I didn't know. And at one point, Divan told me, I don't want to tell other marketers about this because then I'm getting competition in my own area. And that's when I realized, you know what? The industry of network marketing and multi-level marketing is something that I've made a lot of money with before. There were some things that I didn't like. That's why I left the industry. So I didn't like it. There was certain things. I'm not going to go into detail.
Same here.
Same with you. So I don't want to go into detail, but there's some things I didn't like, so I left it peacefully. And I thought, but you know what? There's an element in there where if I, as a marketer, can get more marketers in and I can benefit from what they are doing, we're solving the challenge we had with what Divan told me. I don't want to get more people in. And that's when I realized there's our thing. So then in January, I had to fly up to Skalk, Conradi, one of my best friends. I had to fly for his wedding. And I decided I'm going to postpone my flight back. I'm going to extend my flight to a later time and to come see you. And then that night, so what I wanted to do, by the way, I prepared all of the potential objections that Marius could potentially have, because he was balling with money. He was just printing cash at the time. He was doing exceptionally well with marketing, and I thought to myself, this guy's not going to say yes, but let him rather say yes than me deciding on his behalf. So that's when you and I sat at your boma. And I came and I actually prepared for literally each and every objection that you can potentially have, telling me no, and all the reasons. So I prepared for all of that. And I remember I told you about it and you said, okay, I'm in. I said, what? Why? Because I did not prepare for that.
For me, it was a no-brainer.
But remember, I didn't see it that way. I thought, you know what, this guy's going to say no. He is one of the most successful marketers I've ever met in my life. Arguably, probably the most successful. And I thought to myself, you know what, he's not going to say yes. A startup company versus him making a ton of money. And now I have to convince this guy. I thought you're going to say no. But I thought, you know what, if you say no, at least I can have a braai. I scored a braai in the game. So that I remember that night. It was a really productive night. That night.
Just here.
Yeah, I was there at your boma. And that night we came up with a profit sharing program. And that was probably the most memorable night of my life, because that night caused a ton of people. I'm talking thousands and thousands of people. We are now on 100,000 people already in Diginu. And we didn't spend any form of money on marketing because the money that we would have spent up front, we could now spend after the fact, after the sale went through. So people, any person, anyone in South Africa can now get that opportunity. And I think that was, in my opinion, it's a Picasso. That's more worth to me than I think what the Mona Lisa would be.
Oh, and the great thing about the profit sharing plan, we called it a profit sharing plan, is that the only time that money flows is when an order takes place. So we've got a physical product, that's the order, and there's no money that people have to pay or buy packages. So yeah, that was a great idea.
Absolutely. And I think we had a series of great ideas from there. I think the next great idea we had was in 2022 when I had a challenge with the banks where they didn't want to do instant EFTs fast and affordable. So it would have cost us an arm and a leg. And I walked out of there and I thought, you know what, let's go build our own platform. And a couple of months later, Diginu Pay launched. An incredible e-wallet system that we use to this day. I mean, today it's pivotal in the company, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
we use it for all payment disbursements, to drivers, to customers for commission, to marketers for commission, to merchants, to all of those people. And at the end of the day, this one, I think I took a couple of people by surprise. Diginu Pay launched, I think it was August 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And then November, I think it was about 2 months, November 2022, I told the team, listen guys, the bikes, it's not working. This thing is not working. They keep on breaking, they keep on getting stolen, they're not product market fit. And I said, please go and find us something. So we spoke with a couple of companies that can potentially work. None of them was really nice that we really wanted. And then I wrote down a list, right? So a list of must-haves and nice-to-haves. I said, listen, go and find us a product like this. Even if we have to import from Iceland, I don't care. Just get us this because this will work. Because having well over 2,000 deliveries behind my back personally that I've personally done, I understand what is involved in being a delivery driver and how to protect it from not only corporate side but also from a driver side to make it actually useful. So I remember that day. We came back and I said, okay, so what did you guys find? Let's start work. I first said, give me the top 5. And everyone kept quiet. I said, well, not everyone at the same time, please. I mean, let's maybe put up our hand. I said, let's maybe start this side and work our way around the table. And the first guy said, he just looked to the guy next to him. And they went around the table. I was like, no, come on. And they said, Jesse, you're literally expecting the impossible. We can't find something like this. The expectation is too high. I said, well, and I remember the one guy looked at me like this and he's like, oh, crap. I said, what? He said, you're going to ask us to go build this? I said, yeah. You know me well enough. He said, but we don't know anything about bikes. I said, listen, but there's a little snack. While we're at it, make it e-bikes, please. He said, e-bikes, come on. We can't even do mechanical bikes, let alone e-bikes. And e-bikes is not worth it because the batteries are too expensive.
And I can remember in that we wanted AI technology also.
No?
That was a
So
great idea.
I don't know where the AI is supposed to fit in, but it was just like a cool idea. So here's what the list actually looked like. Number 1, it needed to have swappable batteries. Number 2, it needs to be in excess of at least 100 kilometers on a single charge. Number 3, it needs to have a panic button. Number 4, it needs to be able to be tracked real time, embedded into the bike. Not a tracking system that you add on later on, embedded into the bike. And number 5, you need to be able, when the bike gets stolen, you need to be able to switch the bike off over the internet. So literally power it off. And I was not very popular that day because I thought...
Can you remember the panic button also that you...
Yeah, the panic button. Yeah,
Yeah.
because of the driver safety, yeah. Because the drivers really have challenges. They are really at risk and they're really exposed. And they do sometimes go into very dodgy areas. And then they get hijacked for either the cash they have with them or for the bike itself. And
All the nice pizzas.
all the nice pizzas. Yeah, they stole the one guy's pizzas as well. He has to add insult to injury. And long story short, I think it was about 4 months ago, we imported the first 2 units. So we have them manufactured abroad. We found a company that can actually manufacture it for us. I think we also startled them a little bit with all of our requirements, as well as versus the price point. We said, no, it can't be this expensive. It needs to be this price point. And we pulled it off. We now have the most advanced artificial intelligence powered e-bikes on the planet, in my opinion. Legally, I'm not allowed to say it is the most advanced. But in my opinion, disclaimer, in my opinion, it definitely is. I've also heard from various other massive brands we've had discussions with about the bikes who were interested in it, told me that they've never seen anything like this. Not even remotely close. Today, I can tell you when I'm driving that bike, it's like a holiday in the Maldives. That thing is, not only because it was once a dream, and now it's reality.
Yeah.
Seeing that thing from having the initial discussions, I think you remember when we first had those first discussions, to having the bike actually having the specs, and I think getting that company, the company that produces the bikes for us, to getting them to a point where we are not going to take no for an answer. This is what we want, and you can either produce us or we're going to have to look for someone else. And they actually came to the party, and they actually did produce something that I'm exceptionally proud of.
This is what we got.
Exactly. So we've not only disrupted one company, I think we've, it's safe to say, we've disrupted 3 companies, 3 different industries, as well as the industry of marketing.
Yeah, for sure. What I love about our PSP, our profit sharing plan, is that we give hope back to people. They actually start a business within a business.
Yeah.
They start with their own business in Diginu. That is what I love.
And to that point, Marius, I remember in 2014, when I was a student, I was suffering financially exceptionally. If I say I've suffered financially, I'm talking about I didn't have food to eat, so I went to bed hungry for a few nights consecutively, and it was really tough. Especially if you have to study during class, you have to focus during class, and you're not fed. Your cognitive abilities drop significantly. I found that out the hard way. So it's a really sensitive topic for me to talk about because it was really, really dark days. But I would not only didn't have food to eat, but I also got an eviction notice because I couldn't pay my rent, and I didn't know where to go, and I had immense financial challenges. Like it was flippant tough. And I was late at night, I would be Googling part-time work because I couldn't find a full-time work because I had to class during the day. So I Googled for part-time work, I Googled for work online, and I found, and that's actually how I got into the industry of network marketing. But the whole concept of I had to either pay for packages, I have to buy this membership package or pay for this, or I could get it for free and then I have to pay excessive amount of money for training to be able to actually make this feasible. And I was willing to work and sleep only 3 hours a night and work after class just to be able to eat. I'm not talking about holidays abroad, I'm not talking about partying, I'm talking about just being basics, absolute basics, just being able to eat. And so the whole concept for me was, why are people so stupid from a corporate side of view, or from a company point of view? There's people out there like myself that can actually market, that can actually build benefits for this company, yet your barrier to entry is a lot of money. And that one night, I remember, it was just past 2, that one night, I was crying. I was actually really crying. I was so desperate. I was just like, I was having this struggle with God and saying, God, why are you putting me through this pain, through this agony? I've got pure intentions. I genuinely want to just make money to eat. That's it. First eat. I can figure out the eviction notice later, but I just want something to eat. And I made myself a promise that night, and I said, you know what? If I'm ever in a position to help others to generate their own income or to build a business part-time, then number one, the opportunity will be for free. There will be no packages. There will be no sign-up fees, nothing of that nonsense. And number 2, the training will be free. Not you get like a light version, and then for the actual genuine, in Afrikaans we say pitkos. I don't know what that is in English. The actual substance.
Yeah.
I didn't want people to have the light version and then pay for the substance where you actually start making money. So I think that is why you and I work so well together, because you have the same heart to genuinely help people, to give them all the facilities for free, all the training platforms. And now today we have our Diginu Academy on diginu.com. You can log in and you get all the training for free, on demand, 24/7, 365. You can do your training, you get your certificates and all of those things. And Maurice, you know what? Looking back at what we've built here, it's like someone told me the other day, what you guys have built is pretty freaking awesome. And I think that is I fully agree with that.
A few minutes later.
Lekker. I see you're going to braai for us now. If you're not going to braai now, I'm going to order food on the app.
You can, but that rib is going to be a
Winner.
winner. Sheesh. You know, Afrikaners, there's always too much meat.
Meat is meat and man must eat. I'm going to put this here. Where's your grit?
No, I'm going to get it now. Don't worry. I just want to do some coals here. Here's the grit. Oh, Jesse, we had some good times, but we also had some very interesting times.
Yeah. You remember that night when was it, in 2022? When the drivers held us ransom, those 2 or 3 drivers held us ransom that one night.
Yeah, that was that one evening I can remember.
Oh, challenging.
Jesse, don't you think we must tell and show the people what's going on behind the scenes of Diginu?
We can, but it's going to be raw and it's going to be real, and it's not going to be for the faint-hearted.
Our journey's begun. The best is ahead, and the best will now come. Diginu is absolutely beyond.
What? A pyramid, that's illegal.
From pain to relief.
Wag, wat? Erika stuur nou my boodskap dat ek gaan kyk wat sê sy.
Ja, ek sê vir ons moet ons miljoene mense vrymaak.
One needs to do something, other one needs to do something. Transactions.
Can we agree a pyramid scheme is illegal? Yes, of course.